What's up, everybody? Here is a full arm day I did today, and I did 3 different exercises for biceps and 3 different exercises for triceps. So getting right into it, here is my first exercise for biceps. I did a seated preacher curl and I did 2 warm-up sets. I think first set was at about 100 pounds and the second set was at about 130 pounds, both for about 10 to 12 reps at a time. And I'll typically superset these, so just while one muscle group is working, the other is resting, and just alternating between each of them. So this was my first tricep movement. It was a seated machine tricep extension. Did also 2 warm-up sets here. First warm-up set was at about 80 pounds, and the second one was at 90 pounds, and for about 10 to 12 reps for each one of those. Here's my top working set for the preacher curl. Ended up with 150 pounds for 11 reps. I was really trying to shoot for about 12 to 15, but just ended up short. That's okay, we'll get it next time. Then here's my top set for that seated tricep extension machine. I ended up with 100 pounds and I got 12 repetitions here. Definitely could have done a little bit better job here, trying to keep my elbows down on the actual pad. But kind of basically like a seated skull crusher. If you look at it, it's basically the same exact movement. But I just kind of like the machine just because it's a little bit more stable. But like I said, I could have probably done a better job with my elbows staying glued to the pad itself. Then this is probably one of my all-time favorite bicep movements, is a dumbbell hammer curl. Did 2 warm-up sets, each for about 6 to 8 reps. And I did 40s and 50s for those warm-up sets. Really trying to focus on keeping my elbows glued to my side and kind of driving that forearm in towards my bicep. I paired the hammer curls here with these JM presses. I was supposed to do these on a Smith machine, but I was already by the dumbbells and really didn't want to set up a whole nother station, so I just kind of ended up doing this dumbbell jam press. But it is pretty gnarly on my elbows, to be honest, so I tried not to go super heavy. I did 30 pounds and then my warm-up set was at 40 pounds. And then here was my top working set for the hammer curls. I just love these two just because you're able to go a little bit heavier with these. And who doesn't love to lift some heavy dumbbells, especially while you're curling. Ended up here with the 55 pounders and I did a total of 7 reps. Then here was my top working set for the JM press. I ended up with ended up staying with the 40s and only ended up with about, I think, 6 or 7 reps. Honestly, nothing super impressive. Once again, this just wreaks havoc on my elbows, and yeah, definitely gonna be doing this more on the Smith machine. Then my last sequence of exercises for biceps and triceps were incline curls and a overhead rope tricep extension. Here's my first warm-up set at the 30 pounders for about 12 reps, and then my second warm-up set was at 35s for another 12 repetitions. Here's my first warm-up set for the overhead tricep extension. I did about 80 pounds for the first one and then 90 pounds for the second one. I was doing about 10 to 12 repetitions for each of those warm-up sets. And then here's my top working set for the incline curls. I meant to grab the 40s and I accidentally grabbed the 45, so I ended up short with my reps. Shooting for about 10 to 12 reps, ended up with 8 reps only here. Kind of switched up my technique on how I've been doing these. As opposed to kind of curling down into a neutral position, I just keep my arms in a supinated position the entire time, and I just really find that it actually stresses the bicep a lot better, especially there at the bottom. Then here was my top working set for the overhead extension. I did 100 pounds for 14 repetitions. I typically actually use a longer rope for this, just because, you know, especially at the top, you're getting a little bit more range of motion, able to squeeze that tricep at the top. But this was handy for today, so got it done with what was nearby today. Then finally finishing with a little bit of forearm work. I was kind of short on time, and this is a little finisher I like to do, especially once again if I'm short on time but don't want to skip forearms. So basically you're going to do 30 seconds twisting in one direction and then 30 seconds twisting the other direction. So you're kind of working flexion and extension. And this just absolutely obliterates my forearms. I'll take about a minute and a half break in between and repeat that for 3 rounds. And I'm not joking you, it's like difficult to open up your hands after doing those 3 rounds. So 30 seconds each direction, and then about a minute and a half break in between. Then finishing things off with a little bit of a pump check. Biceps were feeling great, triceps got a great pump, and my forearms were definitely feeling it after that little finisher. Overall, 10 out of 10 arm day for me.